Okay, everybody. Don't know whether any of you have actually heard of like the juice cleanse. Probably have, unless you're living underneath a hole and not looking for diet trends at all, because it's actually been out there quite a bit. I was actually surprised when I discovered it myself that I hadn't actually noticed it before, and the realization that this thing had actually was a big thing. Right. In essence, there's a lot of information out there. You'll get a lot of conflicting theories and concepts and ideas will go around about it. But in essence, what it is that you, rather than eating your food and eating the solids, is that you get high, dense nutrient fruit and vegetables, and you juice them and you drink the juice. The idea behind that, the basic idea is that you're getting all the main nutrients that you require. It's in a very easy to absorb method. The benefits of this, which I know there is still some argument about, but it makes sense. The benefits are that it puts a lot less stress on your digestive system. It allows your digestive system to, for want of a better word, to recover. So if you consider that all of the food that we eat, basically goes through your body, your body has to work to process it, break it down, get the nutrients out of it, and so forth. Add to that the amount of garbage that we put into our systems as well, that makes it even harder for our bodies to basically go through this. So we put a lot of work on our system, partially through making it work hard to break down the foods that we should be eating, and then also we make it work very, very hard breaking down the foods that we shouldn't be eating. Now, by juicing, the idea being is obviously you've done a lot of the digestive work for your system. So when it's basically getting its nutrients, it's got a lot less work to do in regards to breaking it down. First and foremost, far less solid. Secondly, you've reduced all of the garbage, and you've basically just left good, clean, nutrient-rich liquid, essentially. Low in fibre, so potentially a downside from that standpoint, but in the grand scheme, if it's done on a short term, provided you go to the doctor and make sure that your health is at a level that it's not going to cause you any issues, like your blood pressure, heart issues, and that sort of thing, it can be a big problem because it's quite a shock to the system, so it can cause stress at that point. But if you're relatively healthy from that standpoint, it should be no issue on a short term, but definitely check with your doctor first to make sure. So the last thing you want is to basically try to make yourself healthier and then suddenly go and get worse. Now, interestingly enough, with the juice diet is, well, first and foremost, you're not actually physically eating anything. So day one is probably the easiest, really. Because if you've ever attempted fasting or anything like that in the past, it's not much different to that. I found that getting used to the tastes, particularly when you want to go heavy on the greens, which is generally a good idea because that's where you get them higher in the nutrients and lower in the sugar. Some of that stuff really tastes like you're drinking grass. and it's pretty awful initially, but you do get used to it rather quickly. And what I would recommend is, if you do want to give this a go, start with a higher concentration of fruit juices in there to basically ease your way into it. Carrot juice, if you don't want to go like mega sugar. Carrot juice is actually surprisingly sweet and quite nice. I was actually really surprised. I really like carrot juice. I really thought I would hate it. I actually really like it. A little bit of apple juice, a little orange, great for vitamin C, carrot juice, mix some of that in there. So particularly for early morning, that will make the transition a lot more pleasant. If you're drinking something that's got a little bit more of that flavoursome sweetness to it as well, you don't feel as much like you're not eating or you're missing out, and transition your way into it. I transitioned relatively quickly, so breakfast I had probably primarily fruit. Lunch, it was a bit more of a combo, and the dinner was primarily vegetables, so very little sweetness in it. Interestingly enough, that actually helped me, because night times are a terrible one for me. So what I found was, I basically told myself my meal was that. So anytime I decided I was hungry and I needed to have a snack, it was, well, if you're really that hungry, you can have that wonderful green stuff that's sitting in the fridge. And it was amazing how not hungry I was. Day 2 was probably harder. That was when it started to get to a point where I was starting to realise that I wasn't actually eating, which is a very strange sensation to go through. And I started to feel a bit more hungry. So pushing through that, by the end of the day, it was relatively alright. You go through your standard hunger pangs, and to be fair, I probably would have gone through most of that if I'd been eating normal food as well anyway, because my mind was telling me I needed to eat snacks. Day 3 is as far as I actually made it. Basically went the whole way through, and yeah, realistically it's probably where it gets really hard if I push past that point. So if it actually pushed further than that, I probably would have reached a point where I'd started to make it started to get easier again. But it's basically my mindset started to fall off, and the idea of eating solid food again was too difficult for me to not jump back on. However, it did have the benefit that it kind of gave me a bit of a mental reset, and I was able to start pushing towards healthier eating a lot more readily. That being said, if you've watched my previous video, I managed to fall off the rails again anyway, but it is actually nowhere near as hard as it appears. And it is actually quite beneficial. It's really good for that mindset shift. So if you check with your doctor and it is okay for you health wise, I would actually recommend giving it a go to get yourself started, because similar to if you do intermittent fasting, similar idea. It helps to reset your taste buds and reset your mental expectations. So by doing that, you give yourself a bit more of a groundwork to go, hey, look, I can do that. So therefore, avoiding this donut or avoiding this ice cream or whatever your poison happens to be becomes a little bit more easier, because you've got something that you can look at and you can say, see what I've actually done. You look back at it. It's like quitting smoking. The first week, you can look back at the first week and go, hey, look, I've done a week. If I spoil it now, I have to do a whole week all over again. So you basically build upon the success that you've had. So based on that, I would say it's actually it's a good it's a good one, and it does have some pretty decent science behind it as well. Although, as I said, the argument's still out a lot. The one thing that I would be recommending though is if you do go down that path, get a decent quality juicer. Don't get a really super cheap one, because it does actually make a difference. You don't necessarily need to go for one of the ridiculously expensive ones, but don't buy an El Cheapo. You'll probably find it'll kill itself, and B, you won't get as much juice out of it, and the heat that's created in the juicing process. And the cheaper ones can harm some of the nutrients. Fresh is always better, obviously. One of the things that I found though is that I basically juiced, separated it out into portions and frozen, and that actually made things a little bit easier, so you do bulk amounts. Technically it's still not as good as fresh, but it's better than leaving it in the fridge and going to waste or just not doing it. So convenience versus best possible. So I went for the convenience. So juicing, mixing, putting it in the freezer, defrosting it, or even basically making a smoothie out of it, or juicing some fresh stuff and adding the ice to it, then blending it or something like that. There's multiple different ways you can go with it, particularly in summer. Very nice because it's even colder. So that's a good one. Alright, hopefully you found this useful in some fashion, and click on that subscribe button. I'm going to keep up with my insights, tidbits of information and things that I find out along the way. Click on that subscribe button. Apparently you need to click it twice so that it fills in, so that you actually get notified properly. So if you can do that, I'd appreciate it. Tell your friends, share the videos, let everybody know, because obviously the more people that know, the more people that can find out. And realistically, my hope is that not only can I actually pull myself together and actually get my health back on track, but that somewhere along the way somebody else will watch this and they'll go, yeah, I can do it, and that I can actually give some inspiration there, and I can actually help improve somebody else's life. And ultimately that's what would really mean the most to me, is to find out that down the track that I've actually inspired somebody to take control of their life and make a better life for themselves. Alright, thanks again, catch you in the next video.